What's up, everybody? We are back. The segment podcast is back. We were out for a couple weeks, but we're back, and boy, do we have an awesome guest tonight. Already, Joey, look at all the people in the chat already. Jeez, we got Adam Mock, Bobby Vaco, Octo Dad, what's up, all the way from New Zealand. We have Isaiah, what's up, Trail Dogs is in the house. Timothy Haley is in there. Dude, everybody is in. This is awesome. Let's go. So welcome everybody to another episode of the Segment Podcast. Joey, my man, how's your week been?
It's been a good week. Yeah, need to get some riding in. I may have snuck in one day this week.
Nice. Where'd you go?
I may have gone to San Clemente.
Oh, that place is the best. That place is so fun. How's the dirt?
I was kind of hoping it would still have a little moisture, but it was dry already. But there's been some trail fairies out there doing a great job lately. They've rebuilt a lot of stuff, so it's
nice.
Nice.
That place is really fun. Really close to YT. What do you think? Speaking of YT, what do you think about that new flight attendant that they got going on?
I'd like to go put my hands on that.
Right?
Yes, I'd like to go check it out. Definitely.
So yeah, so that thing, it somehow senses what you're riding and it adjusts the suspension based on that.
Right. I thought it was more like a shock whiz or something that you kind of could just learn and dial it in, but it actually learns the bike and learns what you're riding and the trail, and it adjusts while you're riding.
Jeez, that's crazy. That's crazy. I see Timothy Haley is saying flight attendant and so sick. So sick. Mike Savicki is on. What's up, buddy? Last time I saw you, we were at SkyPark at Top of the World getting ready to drop in. That was cool. That was very, very cool. The MTB Desert Rat also is in tonight from Not Another Mountain Bike podcast, along with, I think MTB Rad Dad. I saw him in here as well. So MTB Rad Dad, those guys, they're out in the desert. I've noticed it's been colder. We've been getting some moisture, which is great. I know that our mountain bike gear is going to start changing. Here's I got a vest on here that I picked up from TASCO, but you just picked up something new from TASCO. It was the new Scout pants. Oh, you got them right there.
Keep going and going and going.
No, is that the same material as the Scout shorts?
Exactly. Yeah, same material. It's got the pockets. It's actually got the foam pocket on the left and the right side, which is kind of nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Man, Nate Miller and Jeremy over there at TASCO doing some work. Yeah. I know a lot of people have been asking for those pants, so it's good to see them.
I would jump on them because the day I was in there was the day they got them, and he said 25% of them are going out the door that day.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, definitely. If you guys want some TASCO pants, so you're going to have to jump in and get those. They're going fast. Holy smokes. I know a lot of people have been looking for them. Folks, tonight, Joey and I have a great show for you. We have the owner of SkyPark, Mr. Bill Johnson himself. And we did collect some good questions from everybody, so we'll be addressing your questions. But also feel free to chat it in. And why is Mark wearing a life vest? So
come on,
so the kids, I'm a dad. The kids in the house caught a cold earlier in the week. I caught the darn cold. Puff Daddy. Marty in New Zealand says Puff Daddy. Yeah, I know. I caught the cold. I've been taking a COVID test every other day. It's come back negative. So that's always good. Adam Mock says because he's dope. Because it's dope. That's right. It's dope. But yeah, so we have Bill Johnson on the show tonight. We were talking to him backstage. Man, the guy is full of energy. He's got some great ideas at SkyPark and obviously built this place up. So can't wait to dive into this and get into the history of SkyPark with Bill Johnson. I don't know, Joey, what do you think? Should we bring him on? Should we bring him out?
You ready? Here he comes.
All right, here we go.
Oh, here he comes.
Here goes.
Hey,
yes, Bill Johnson. Good to see you, Bill Johnson.
Yeah, good to be seen. Yes. Stoked. Thanks for having me on. I'm stoked that you guys thought about us.
Oh, yes, of course. We love SkyPark. Everybody here in the chat loves SkyPark. Pretty much everywhere you go, you mention SkyPark, everyone's always like, that place is awesome. Adamak is saying, "There's the man." MTB DH, Mr. Drew saying, "You've been waiting for this one. Love SkyPark." So see,
Everybody does.
Well, thanks, you guys.
there's
I love
the
it too.
and guys, this isn't just his office at his house. You see here the SkyPark logo in the background. He's actually at SkyPark working right now. Owner and operator Bill Johnson.
Yeah, nonstop. Yeah, there's still so much to do. You can't, like, I wake up this morning. I got up at 4:00 this morning, and it's just flat out, man. And then it's just, next thing you know, here I am, and then I will hit the pillow hard, man. Everybody else goes, "Hey, dude, do you sleep?" And I'm like, "I sleep like a freaking baby, man." And I go down pretty hard.
Dude, that place. So you're putting in a lot of hard work at SkyPark. You're always on there. We love it. We get to see and enjoy the fruits of your labor. But let's go back in time and just tell us, how did SkyPark become SkyPark of Santa's Village?
Okay, so I'm just like you guys, man. I just like to grab my bike and I like to go ride. So I'm from Lake Arrowhead, so this is my backyard for riding, and just got super passionate about it. And I started, doing racing and everything else. Anything you could do on a mountain bike, I would participate in and travel around. And then I got married. My wife got jealous about the bike. Everybody here knows exactly what I'm freaking talking about. Right.
You're supposed to be home an hour ago.
Right. And then I had kids, and it's like, wow, this is getting to be pretty complicated, And so I would do rides right out my backyard. I'd have to do stuff close. And then a bunch of buddies and I would get together at 3:00. Mark Mazakis, a guy that here works at the park. And we're talking, this is 25 years ago. And we would ride out my backyard, and my backyard is the back of Santa's Village.
Oh.
We'd ride back here and just cause mayhem. And then we'd get thrown off by the landowner, The one landowner was really a jerk. The last one just didn't put up with any trespassing. Liability scares everybody. Gotcha. And then, and then I took a trip to, I got a great story. I took a trip that I was supposed to go to Whistler with buddies. And my buddies took the bike. They took my bike and drove from here to Whistler. I flew to Hawaii with a vacation with my family. And then I was going to go from Hawaii and meet everybody in Whistler. Okay. Long story short, the day before I flew to Whistler, my passport expired. And they wouldn't let me fly from Hawaii to catch up with the guys in Whistler. So I never got to go. And super bummed. And all the guys came back at our next, Thursday ride. We do these Thursday ride, and they made a PowerPoint with my bike. And they are launching, at the time, it was a Diamondback Moto XC, big, Marzocchi double crown fork on it. And they're launching this bike all over Whistler with no rider on it. And they're making a mockery out of me. They throw it in the jacuzzi with a bunch of hot chicks. They put it all in the bathroom with toilet paper coming out from behind them. They just so anyways, then I didn't miss Whistler.
Right.
When I went to Whistler, I'd never seen anything like it. You had a full mountain bike park, and at the bottom of the park was a village that my family could have fun at. And I could go on a trip and they could come. And I thought, shoot, man, if we could build something like this in Southern California, how cool would that be? You wouldn't have to leave your family at home and have this guilt because you're going to ride your bike. It's like, hey, family, you want to go, hop in the car. Right. And so that was kind of the inception of the idea of building SkyPark, try and find a family location where you could ride. And coincidentally, it just happened to be my backyard. It just the sky just opened up and the stars aligned, and it came to fruition.
Wow. Was SkyPark, was it for sale? How did it even become like a thing that you could purchase?
So it turned in, we got the bark beetle up here and we lost 1 million trees.
Okay.
And there was no place to lumber all those trees. So they used the SkyPark at that time of Santa's Village, of course. The Santa's Village location had been closed. And a guy bought it with the attempt to open up Santa's Village. And the bark beetle came through, and they ended up leasing the property out of kind of an emergency to lumber companies. So this whole thing turned into a sawmill, and it actually processed 1 million trees through this property.
Whoa.
It completely went a whole different direction. It was crazy. And so the environmental problems and everything else that comes with all that industry that came up became a big issue locally with the community. And so the family got to the point where they couldn't figure out how to make money. The owner had then passed away, unfortunately. So it went into a probate. I bought it out of probate from a family that just couldn't manage it and just didn't know what to do with it. Their dad had bought it, and so it gave me the opportunity to buy it. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm a real estate broker by trade. I have a real estate company in Lake Arrowhead. So watching the properties and watching this property come up was natural. It fit into what I did. And so I saw it come and I watched it come on the market, and I just kept watching for that price to kind of come down until it was palatable, you know.
Oh, I'm so glad it became palatable too.
Yeah, now that I've done all that, I've realized the cheap part was buying the land. That was
right.
I thought that was going to be the expensive part.
So when you bought the land, were some of the trails like arrow and jump line and sleigh ride, were they the ones that you would sneak onto the property before you owned the land to ride? Were those somewhat natural? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of what was getting the guy upset that owned it. Is we were cutting a line that would start at the top of the world, and actually it went to the next range over, and then we would drop these single tracks that came through, and we were riding them daily with frequency, so he could see that we were out there.
Right.
And so there was kind of this big collusion between this property owner and the Boy Scout camp, which is next to us, where they were like, hey, we need to kick these mountain bikers out here, because we started getting more and more aggressive, or we were, putting in ramps and big hits and all these little skinnies. And we were, doing these crazy, it was starting to look like kind of like BC, like this North Shore type environment.
Wow.
And then they would come through with crews and they would just clean all of our stuff out and be gone. In 2003, we had the old fire, and the old fire blew through and burned part of SkyPark, and it burned the back, and it burned most of our trail systems at that time. And when a fire, I don't know how many people on this podcast have ever ridden in sections of like the Angeles Forest and areas where they've been burned. Man, it really jacks the trail up. It just really turns it into a weird pumicey, flowery kind of sand. It just loses its integrity. So the backside it still is kind of in a little bit of disrepair. A few more years, I think, and there'll be some good riding behind the park.
Yeah, that's a roller coaster and a lot of the good trails back there, world-class trails back behind you guys. And I think there's a question around that we'll get into later for the future of possibly for SkyPark. So, but what a cool story that's how you guys, so you were riding on the property a long time ago.
Yeah. I've been riding here for a long time. And seeing all kinds of things. Yes, just like everybody, you ride your backyard, and I've seen hunters out here shooting big old deer on the property when I was younger, and just crazy stuff. There's bears everywhere. There's wildlife all over SkyPark. SkyPark is crawling with creatures, man.
Wow.
So yeah, crawling with creatures this weekend. For anybody that can make it, Dead Men's Party is tomorrow night, and that is going to be a freaking blast. I love that band, just the Oingo Boingo, cover band, but they've kind of created their own talent, man. Those guys freaking rip. So I'm looking forward to having them play at the park tomorrow. That's
going to be awesome. So is it normal park hours tomorrow, and then the Dead Man's Party band goes on at night?
Yeah. And we have a no noise ordinance, and I'll answer one of the questions right now that I saw kind of pop up and go through. We have a noise ordinance where we're not supposed to bang the drum after 10 o'clock for fear that our neighbors can hear us. Now, of course, we don't have any neighbors, so that really isn't an issue, but that is part of our permit. And the second part is that we're also not allowed to ride bikes after dusk. That was part of the EIR, and we have here the habitat for a southern rubber boa, which is a endangered species, and I would argue that it's a rare species, not an endangered species, but that's for another subject. But
how do we get more of those?
It comes out at night, and because it came out at night, the environmental groups were like, "Hey, what can we do to mitigate any disturbance of the rubber boa?" And that was one of my concessions. Is I was like, "Well, I cannot ride bikes at night, and I'll agree to that," which is kind of a bummer because my post or my pre-competitive side of mountain biking is 24-hour racing. So I very much like to ride at night, but that's something we're restricted from.
Oh, interesting. That explains it. I didn't realize that that's one of the reasons why you guys close the trails off at dusk. That makes sense. That makes sense. So you used to be a racer. If we want to go further back into your mountain biking career, how deep were you into mountain? Obviously, you're into it deep now, but how deep were you in before SkyPark? Before you be
recreationally, I loved it. So I do it all the time. Raced in Shasta all over California. Some cross country, but a lot of 24-hour stuff and 24-hour teams. I like doing the team riding because the camaraderie, you get 5 guys and you do the relay all through the night. And it's too bad 24 hours of adrenaline. They stopped doing the races, but that series went on for 20 years or something like that. They did it in Idlewild and a bunch of areas, and it was fun. So I really enjoyed that. And then once my kids grew up and went to high school, then I coached high school mountain biking with NICA. So I'm a huge supporter of NICA. In fact, we just picked up a sponsorship. We talked about today in our marketing meeting. We're going to grab on with those guys, and we're going to see if we can help some kids out and do more stuff for kids. And that subject just goes on and on. We have a bunch of nonprofit stuff that we do. We're now bringing in our local school district. Super cool, man. These kids can sign up and they can come in with coaching with Brandon and with our other instructors. And we're coaching 5th graders and middle schoolers on Wednesdays and Thursdays as a PE curriculum for them. So these little grommets get to go out and hammer out in the woods.
Dude, I'm jealous, man.
I'm jealous. Wish we could have that kids.
I wish I had that same. I wish I had that when I was a kid. Like, you're going to SkyPark for practice. You're going to SkyPark for a race. Like, what? Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's cool.
We had a question here from Marty. He's out of New Zealand. He says, can you ride SkyPark all year around?
So great question. So for an example, we've been open for 5 years. We have had a year where we've only had to close the park for 10 days because of bad weather, because of snow. It just coincidentally would snow during the week. And by the time the weekend came, we could clear it. And so total, we only had 10 days of shutdown that we'd normally operate. Last year, we were closed 10 weeks. So that goes to show you we're super, because we're right at 6,000 feet in Southern California. So for instance, we have a big storm coming in on Monday, which we're super stoked, you guys, because that means we get another round of really good moisture. It's 1 to 4 inches of rain for us on Monday. So we're going to have some killer dirt coming up. And once it gets like that, it stays like that once the season kicks in. So for me, riding season started about a week ago. This is about when the summer, it's great. It's fun because people have it off and it can come. But as all the listeners know or viewers know, it's dusty. It's hot. It's hard for us to maintain trails. We water them all the time to try and keep them up. But this time of year, Mother Nature does it for us, and it just gets stickier and it just gets better.
So good. All the PRs come out this time of year.
Yeah.
So I hear, with all the sticky, awesome, fast conditions. We have a guy. Speaking of, you said a lot of folks or a lot of wilderness out there. MTBDH Drew says, I almost got plowed over by a deer running down from jump line and sleigh ride when I was heading up the up line. So must have been either early in the morning or maybe towards
it doesn't matter. Normally the early morning is when you're going to get into that kind of stuff. But this time of year when the deer are running around and there's hunting and stuff, they get unstable. And yeah, I had the same experience going at the top of upline. Right when you pass Lower Arrow going up, man, I just about got taken out also by 2 bucks with giant rats. One guy was trying to kill the other guy or whatever. Competition for the harem there or whatever. So it was nuts, man. These guys were ballistic and they blew right over the top and jumped 18 and blew into the face of the mountain. So they run through here like it's, a small football field. They're
rad. Crazy. Mountain biking in the mountains, like you expect to see stuff like that. Right. We got Brandon Fisher's getting a nice call out here from the Trail Dogs MTB. He says Brandon is awesome as a coach for sure. Yeah. That dude's awesome.
I'm super fortunate to have him back. I'm so excited. It's hard, you guys, because we all do it to recreate and have fun, but when you start trying to make a living at it, it's challenging, man. It's hard to balance that, and it's been hard for Brandon to try and stay in the industry, have a family and get going and everything else. And so I'm super stoked we have him back on the mountain, and I hope he's here to stay, you know?
Yeah, hope so too. And dude, he shreds. I seen some of his stuff. Air Blair says, what's up, Air Blair says, next new trail at SkyPark needs to be named Southern Rubber Boa.
Rubber Boa. Good idea. So actually, what's going to happen here is Comet a section of Comet is going to be deeded over to Fish and Wildlife, and we're going to lose 30 acres of the park back there. And that was kind of the token that I had to give up in order to open the bike park. Fish and Wildlife, what are you going to give us? And I'm like, well, how does this work? You know, and it's kind of extortion, but it's how it works. So when you go on Comet will actually be still my property, but there'll be an environmental easement that'll be underneath your wheels. And they'll come out and do inspections, and maybe someday they might find a Southern Rubber Boa, but to this date, they've never found one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Or is that good or is that bad? Do we want them to find one? Because we can go get some.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think all of us want to see a bald eagle, right? I mean, all of us want to see endangered species do well, and so yeah, I'd love to find one and see one. But the downside to finding one and seeing one, unfortunately, though, and is you know, the next guy that wants to come and do something in the woods, he'll find further and further restrictions on him if in fact this habitat does support a Southern Rubber Boa, which, you know, personally I think it does. I mean, we probably do have them. I've seen all the reports and all the studies and everything else. Like I said, it's not necessarily it is on the endangered species list, but I think it's more of a rare species. They are prevalent. But they're very elusive. They'll come out at night, so it's not something that you're going to see like a rattlesnake.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe keep them elusive so that we can keep on riding.
Yeah. Right.
MTBDH is asking. So I think everyone wants to know: was Thrall's system planned to look like an outline of SkyPark's mascot Arrow? Every time I look at Strava, it looks like the dog Arrow. Interesting.
Wow, that's coincidental. Yeah, that's totally coincidental. So there's a little story to the history of the park there. So when I bought the park, I saw the model of what would work and what wouldn't work. And I was afraid of snow play because it was so unreliable in Southern California. And so I thought, well, I'm going to call this thing SkyPark. And it's going to be a bike park, and this is what's going to happen. And so I did a couple of social media kind of things, just kind of letting people know, hey, this is the direction that I was going to go with the park. And we got a huge outcry of people that were like, hey, whoa, you're destroying a legacy of Santa's Village. How dare you buy the property and not recognize or not bring back Santa's Village. But that was not part of the plan. But as I learned and got educated about how many people had visited Santa's Village and the passion that was there for that part of the theme park, I was like, wow, we need to take a second look at that. So my wife and I really kind of dove into the theme park side of it and went after the Santa's Village side and said, okay, hey, let's develop this and let's see if we can make this work. And Disneyland has Mickey Mouse. So we're like, what are we going to do? And we just had a bunch of raccoons come into our backyard and kill our rabbits and our chickens that my kids had. So my kids were pissed, man. My kids were like, let's get a bear. Let's get like a lion and kill the raccoons. Like my kids were so upset. And then my one kid goes, hey, let's get a wolf. And I thought, that might not be out of the question. Maybe we could get a wolf. So they did all the homework and everything. And we found a breeder. And hence, when we bought the park, we got Arrow. And something that's kind of coincidental, I called the breeder to get him, and Arrow was born on the same as my birthday. We both have the birthday of January 12th.
Oh my gosh.
The first trail we built, we thought, hey, we'd stick with the theme and we'll name that trail after the mascot. And so Arrow got named after Arrow. You guys met him one way or the other. So no, it wasn't supposed to be in the shape of an arrow or of a wolf, but it's cool that it is. I have to look at that.
Yeah, that is really cool. That is really cool. We got a guy who works with Jordan Brand and Nike. His name is Adam Mock, And he says, I know a guy who can draw some sweet arrow designs if you need them.
Sweet. All right.
Get Nike and Jordan Brand on that one with Adam Mock.
Nice.
That is a cool story. I had no clue. That's how the Trail of Arrow, and that's where Arrow came from. Yeah. I didn't realize that Arrow was a wolf either.
Yeah. So here's Arrow. So Arrow, these arrows just came in. Right now, getting stuff in the park is super hard. So we have him made. We actually manufacture Arrow ourselves. He comes out of Vietnam, Taiwan, depending on the factory. And it takes us forever to get stuff in right now. So we're having the problems with all other businesses. But we just got a shipment of, I think, 3,000 of him for the Christmas holiday. So
that's
he's on the shelves.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. Bobby Vaco says, my daughter has one.
Nice.
That's
Bobby,
really.
Bobby, I love that picture of you, man.
Profile shot. Right? I'm jealous. We got Scott Ripple here. He's asking, hey, Bill, thanks for SkyPark. My girlfriend and I love coming up there for a weekend ride, some brew, and an overnight stay in Lake Arrowhead. It's one of our favorite things to do.
Yeah, and that's that comment that I would get. And so when we started doing the design, I did the land use. I was like, you know what, we need to put an RV park in. We need to make it so that people, if they do drive up, man, they can make it worthwhile and not have to drive back down on the same day. I mean, everybody on this that's here and been to the SkyPark knows, man, sometimes at the end of the day, especially if you have a beer in you, man, you're all relaxed after riding all day. You're tired, man, and it's hard to sometimes do the trip up and back. So the RV park is really a blessing, man, because you can come up, stay, and hang out and enjoy the park and not feel like you're in a rush to get in and out of here, you know?
Yeah, and you guys just opened up some of the RVs out there for people to stay in if they don't have one?
Yeah, that was Michelle's idea. My wife, she was infatuated with the Airstream thing, and so we located, I should say, it wasn't that easy to find 6 Airstreams, and we gutted them. And then we have Santa's workshop here, of course. So we built all the furniture and cabinetry and everything. We built the interiors out. And so each one's totally custom and they're super fun to stay in. So yeah, we have those available for people that just want to come up in their car and don't want to do the whole camping thing. You can just, get one of the Airstreams and hang out.
Oh, that is very cool. And my family and I have come up and stayed at the campgrounds there. And it is so clean. Everything is so clean. And the views from there are amazing. The showers, the bathrooms, like it's such a cool place. And then if you wake up early in the morning, the coffee shop's open across the street. So we take the kids and walk over and get a cup of coffee and have some breakfast and come back. It's awesome.
Yeah. And we just keep trying to do a better job. It's to manage all that, the food and beverage and the whole thing. And this isn't what I do. I'm like everybody else, like watching this and listening, it's like, just a normal guy, man. And then all of a sudden you've got this job and this job mutates into something else. And now next thing you know, we have like 18 businesses in here. And it's super tough to keep up with pace and keep things at the quality that you want. So I've been super excited because I feel like we're getting better at this. And as we get better at this, the park gets better and we'll get much better as we go. I think we're really going to start doing some huge movements in 2022 here with everything from better trails, better food, better hospitality, and better attractions. Just make the place a better park.
Yeah, I can't wait. MTB Octo Dad, this is Marty Richards. He's actually he's in New Zealand. He's watching this from down there. He's asking, how many people can you fit in the biggest Airstreams? We have a family of 10.
I think I think 2 of our Airstreams have some decent sized beds. If they're your kids, they probably kill each other. But you could put 4 in a couple of them. One of them, the max is 2, and one of them probably comfortably is 3. So you probably have to break them up in order to be comfortable. But we do have tent camping and we do have other stuff. So if you grabbed a couple Airstreams, you and your wife, and then put all the kids in the tents.
And they love it. They see all the stars. It'd be great. You're getting a lot of good compliments here. Bobby is saying you guys are killing it up there when it comes to all your work ethic and everything you're doing. Adam Mock saying you do an incredible job. Your dedication and passion definitely show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's like I said, it's more than I ever thought. And so it came into something that I thought would be kind of I still have the real estate company, by the way. So like this morning I had to get up early because I had to do contracts and then go have my office meeting and get the real estate company going. And then I come here for quote my second job, and it in itself is a major job. So I appreciate the acknowledgement, because it's like, wow, sometimes it just feels like I'm just getting thrashed. And there's weird things about it that nobody sees. It's the building of the Caltrans project of putting that intersection in, and then Caltrans saying, hey, if you want to open, you got to build this. And I'm like, well, it's your highway. I mean, the Santa's Village was here before. Now, how come all of a sudden I got to rebuild the highway and put a signal in and do all this stuff? And they're like, well, it's up to you. You don't have to open the park. So, so all of a sudden, this $3.5–4 million price tag gets thrown at me on the highway that I didn't anticipate. And it's my own fault. I was naive. And I should have known that, but I was in uncharted ground, man. Nobody's built a mountain bike park and done a new park that I'm aware of. I can't even remember the last time a big new park, somebody kind of had the balls to go for it and build a park,
Yeah, definitely. No, and we're so thankful you did. One of our female mountain bike riders out there saying the level of detail all throughout the park is absolutely incredible. I especially love the bike details in the pedal pub. P.S. Can we plan more sugar plum events? That was phenomenal.
Yeah. Ooh. So, and absolutely, man, we are doing our event calendar. We started it today. We will wrap up most of that tomorrow. We have a lot of it done. But then what we have to do after we kind of plan all of our events, then we kind of look at the industry and make sure, hey, if we're going to do sugar plum, let's not drop it on the same weekend that we're doing that Sea Otter's going on. So, gotcha. You really kind of have to be conscious about what your fellow industry people are doing, because you don't want to try and break the market in half and make it so you guys, hey, what do I want to do this weekend? I got 2 spectacular events to go to. Let's pick one. It's nice to be complimentary rather than competitive in the industry. So I look at the whole groups and see what everybody's doing, and then I try and fit the schedule so that we round out the year without competing. And the Sugar Plum Fest is awesome. It's just a super great event. And because of that event, we will do a bunch more stuff. That's part of the fun of the park is now we have a nonprofit called Making Spirits Bright. And we're also trying to do a bunch of fundraising for whatever needs are out there. And once you get into that world, it's been super rewarding. So we've done a bunch of events this year that have been really great for different charities and that kind of stuff. And we will absolutely do a lot more women type categories and women's events at the park, because they're so popular. The park is really a place that a whole family can come, and that's, I hope that's something that we can continue. And that'll be the legacy of this park, is like, hey, let's make SkyPark for everybody in the family. Let's not just make it for, the dudes that want to go ride on Saturday,
Yeah. That's so cool. Debbie is saying, what's happening, Debbie? Good to see you on here. She says, I have so much love for SkyPark. I've learned so much riding on those trails, but the key reason I keep coming back is because of the staff who get to know you and you feel like your family.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that, cool. I can't even tell you how I try and be different than everybody as an employer. That's a different hat that I have to wear. And in this time period, as everybody understands right now, keeping employees and keeping things open. I mean, my local Starbucks is open only, half the hours now. The deli at my supermarket now is closed a couple days a week. I mean, that keeping employees and keeping staff going has been super challenging. And so we ended up doing a bunch of stuff years ago when we first started. I wanted to make sure that those employees were engaging with the guests. And so I tied in some of their bonus to how many people come to the park. Oh. So for everybody that comes to the park, a couple bucks of each ticket goes to a Christmas bonus for our employees.
Oh, nice.
Now we have a full 401k plan. We have the Christmas bonus. We have health insurance for everybody. And so we've really been able to design actually a real company here that takes care of its employees. And so on Tuesday, a week from Tuesday, I have 4 streamlined buses, and I'm taking 250 employees to Catalina Island to party on a week from Tuesday. So,
sweet.
But that's the effort that I really appreciate those employees, because that comment is so spot on. It's the people that make it fun, and it's the guests that make it fun. You know, if you can come and see your buddies at the park and have a good time, that's half of the good time.
Totally.
You guys don't need anything. All you need is a trail and your bike.
Yeah.
So to keep that camaraderie and keep the fun of the park alive, I hope is the key to our future success.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely echoes throughout the park when your staff and the mountain bikers, it's all one big community, you know, and you feel like we're all part of something very, very special together, which is great. I see Pat's getting a lot of shout outs there. Pat's a legend. A good day when I see him at the gate. Shout out to Pat. I feel like Pat's my second dad.
Pat is so chill at that gate, man. Pat is awesome. He just sits out there and freaking checks you in, man.
Exactly. I'll go out to the car, and then Pat will be like, all right, Mark, get back in there. You ready for more? Drew says, hey, Bill, I just sent you a pic of my Strava on your IG so you can see the image of the trails and how it looks like Arrow. Oh, there you go. Cool.
Oh, right on. Okay.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Bobby says, repeat question for when you get more Q&A trail camps. Okay, so Bobby, I think we'll address that here. Well, let's jump into some of these questions that came in from all the viewers out there. Are you ready for some of these questions here, Bill? We got quite a few.
Yeah, I'll try and be brief. I'll try and answer everybody's questions. Yeah.
So the Colorado Kid is from Northern California, and he says, have you thought about doing more sky parks across the country?
Ooh, that is the multi-million-dollar question, right? First of all, Santa's Village, for all the listeners out there, is the first franchised amusement company in North America. So this park has a legacy of replicating itself. So I'll start with that. So it's not out of the question. There are other properties that I have kind of looked at to play with the idea. So far, the stuff that I'm looking at, though, is around us to complement the park. I think if we went that direction, I would have to be able to walk into SkyPark and look around and say, okay, I've got this finished. And I don't know if SkyPark will ever be finished because it's a constantly changing passion. So hopefully there is more bike parks coming up. They probably won't be SkyPark bike parks, but I hope other areas see the success that SkyPark is beginning to have and can say, hey, we can build something like this in our community. And you got to get out there and support those guys when they go out and build trails and do stuff, and maybe something like this can come even closer to home.
Interesting. Yeah. Very, very cool. So yes. So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
Right. CX3 MTB is asking, Transcend Day next season, late winter, spring. We got the numbers to fill the spots. It's one of the Transcend MTB is one of the local mountain bike groups down here in Southern California. I think the membership is around 4,000, something like that. They're big numbers.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's amazing how big the sport's gotten and how these groups have gotten so big. We've now had to kind of beef back up into events. COVID wiped us out. You guys aren't seeing the true park for the last 2 years because we just got handcuffs thrown on us like everybody. But because of that now, I've restructured our event crew, and I'm moving people around within the marketing department, moving to help events out. So absolutely, let's put our heads together and let's get groups and let's do events in here. I'm ready to get back into it and bring everybody to the park. It's about camaraderie. It's about getting these groups together and giving them a stage to play on. That's what it's about.
So true. The trail dogs who are on tonight, they did a trail dog day, and I don't know how many people. I think they may have closely bought out the park, but it was such a fun day. It was such a fun event. Everywhere you look, there was camaraderie, people having a good time. And the best part is when we were all tired and done and dusty and talking about all the crazy things that we did, the jumps that we did, the near crashes that we almost had, the pub, the beers at the pedal pub. That was like the second half of the party, talking about all that stuff. It was so fun.
Yeah. Love the Cody does a great job in the pedal pub, man. He does all of our liquor purchasing and all that. And I kept going, hey, Cody, we need to get Russian River in here, man. And I have like my specialties that I'm like, hey, we have to get this in here. And he does it, man. Bless his heart, man. He goes after it. And if you guys have something you're like, hey, I want to see this in the bar, man, talk to Cody and go, hey, I'd really like to see this. And we'll bring it in.
Cody's awesome. I bought Stephanie a drink for doing the award ceremony, the races that you guys had on Thursdays. I said, Stephanie, what's your drink? She goes, I don't even know, but go ask Cody. He knows what it is. Cody's a legend.
Yeah, he's always got a special brew, some kind of special drink up his sleeve. Just ask him, and he'll make something for you, and it's always good.
It's always good.
Yeah.
Colorado Kid says SkyPark is amazing. Glad we can get a live stream in while there. Such a great spot. Yeah, he did a live stream there at SkyPark with some of the other big YouTubers. MTB Allen was on that show, and The Outsider was on there, and they did a live stream from SkyPark right at the pedal pub. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and Adam ended up coming up with the name of Naughty and Nice.
Yeah,
like, what are we gonna name this?
Yeah.
And Alan, anyways, he chimed in. He goes, "Hey, Naughty and Nice," and we looked at that. We think, you know what? That's actually a pretty good name. The idea of Naughty and Nice, by the way, was supposed to be a family ride, so the whole family could go down it. But as you go down, you could pick a green line, a blue line, or a black diamond, double black diamond, but you're all on the same line. So you could go off and do a teeter-totter and then just hop back on the trail. But collectively, everybody could go down, and you'd have all these different features as it went down. It didn't work. We have it, and it doesn't have the flow of the rest of the trails. And that is a trail that you will see get redeveloped, and Naughty and Nice will get redesigned. So so that's going to be a change to the park.
That is interesting. That may tie into this question, and I did see it in this group here. But Kelly O'Bikes asked a question, and since we're talking about it, might as well pop this one up. Thank you, Mr. Joey. It says, what new trails are on the horizon, and is it possible to get some bigger features in the skills section?
So that's a great question. So we've been talking about that daily. We do talk about that daily. There is a new trail coming on the horizon, and it is Playground. So Playground, we took Sleigh Ride. When you used to ride Sleigh Ride to Playground to finish the ride, you now take Upper Sleigh Ride to Lower Sleigh Ride, and we removed Playground, that title. So Playground will be a new trail that comes in, and it will be right alongside Lower Arrow. And it kind of fishes through the woods. And the idea on this one is to take the slower riders that are on the trail and going to the top and get them off the trail so they don't have to go to the top of the world. So we can do a green line and put them densely in the woods. So you can take, whoever, friend, whatever, and introduce them to mountain biking, and they can go on this pristine little tight single track that's a green line, and introduce them to the beauty of riding in the mountains and and they can go home and say, wow, I went mountain biking today. That was killer, without having to take them down Arrow or take them down Wood Features and that kind of stuff. So that trail is under production right now.
Cool.
So we're working on that one. And then Naughty and Nice is the redo. And of course, the biggie, the monster of SkyPark is still on the horizon. And that's the face ride, the Dozer Line. And we will be after that big time this year.
Yeah. Are you allowed to tell us a little bit about that Dozer Line, what it might look like, or is it too early?
Yeah. So this is the deal, and it will take some public help. It is a line that already exists, and I've ridden it for 25, 30 years. As a kid, I rode it. And it is an enduro line that takes you about 45 minutes to complete. So it would be about the most aggressive enduro that anybody's ever heard of, because it wouldn't be your 7-minute enduro run and then you do another one. This would be an all-out enduro downhill, because there's climbing in it. So your purest downhill guy. This isn't something that he's going to win this event. And this would be something the enduro riders would like. There's a heliport at the bottom. We did design a heliport at the top of the trail. So the concept is we could bring in helicopters back and forth. And the trail's there. So I'm not going in and building a new trail. I'm going in and putting a trail back, and see if we can get that thing shoveled back in. The Forest Service doesn't maintain their trail systems anymore. They used to maintain it. So it's completely overgrown, and you're literally just throwing your bike over deer brush and then on your belly crawling under brush to make the entire ride. You run into sections that are unrideable. But this winter will be after that thing. And I've been going to intertrail meetings. We started an intertrail nonprofit up here with Big Bear, and I have their support. And it looks like I've got the Forest Service support. So we'll get after that this year. We're going to put that trail in.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. We should get we should get all the, a bunch of YouTubers to go down that sucker and blast that out there. If you think that would help.
Yeah.
But I see Uncaged MTB says helicopter. Yes, please. Helibiking, sign me up, Kelly says.
Right. I know. And that comes, from the Walmart boys. They, from what I understand, haven't met them, but, you go out to Arkansas and they've got a town that they've invested heavily in. And the rumor is they've got a patent that they've got a rack that's developed for their helicopter, and they've got it at their house, and they load their helicopter up and they fly themselves to the top of the hills, and then they ride down. So why couldn't we have helicoptering here? We're right in Southern California. We certainly have the birds to fly it, right? So
yeah, we got the weather for it.
Yeah, we got the weather for it. So that would be what a commute. That'd be so sweet.
That would be sick.
Get top to bottom in like 6 minutes. It's just an elevator ride straight back up.
Right. And then have them drop you off right at the top of the world, so you can then drop into jump line.
Yeah, right. Good. So that is a passion of mine, and I'm after that. I want that trail in. And by the way, that trail there would be no charge. That trail would be, although you would start it on SkyPark property, the trailhead, it goes into national forest. And so that would be something that would just be open to the public.
Gotcha. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. And if you buy a membership to SkyPark, it wouldn't be any charge anyways. Like, the next time you show up.
Right. you get a discount on your beers. Yeah.
1%, I'm down. That always works.
Yeah, we used to have it to where you could get a discount when you had a season pass everywhere in the park, but not on alcohol, because somebody told me it was illegal to discount alcohol.
Really?
And then so I called and did some research, and they're like, no, it's not illegal to give somebody a 10% discount on alcohol. I'm like, oh, well, there you go. So now you get 10% off on it. So I had bad intel, man.
Right.
So yeah, funny.
That's funny. Oh, here's Colorado Kid, one of the funny, great YouTubers. He's really great for entertainment. He also says, any plans to install an active volcano where we have to race to the bottom before it erupts and engulfs the rider in lava?
Almost. So
actually, don't ask him that, he says.
It's too late. You asked the question, so here it goes. So, in the wintertime, because we are at Santa's Village, I bought a snowblower, like state-of-the-art big cat blower with compressors and everything, and we can make snow, right? So it was going to be for a sledding hill in the wintertime. It didn't work. It blows out at 5,000 feet. I don't even know how they do it at Snow Valley and Snow Summit, how they make the quality snow. I've been trying to run this thing and make good quality snow, and it comes out like an ice rink. It just doesn't make good snow. But the coolest thing about it is it's got these nozzles on it, right? And it's maybe got 32 nozzles, I'd say, that put out like this crazy mist. And it's got this giant fan. I know you guys have all seen them. If you go to the resort, it's that big old tunnel, funnel that blows the snow through. And so I was thinking about, why couldn't we build like a hill in the park, right? And then invert this thing. And in the summertime, you can fire this thing up and it shoots off like a volcano, right? And it shoots water up and it'll cool you down, because the park is getting too hot in August. So I'm like, we need a water feature. So so here comes the volcano. It's coming.
There you go. There you go, Colorado Kid. That's going to be actually super fun. Get down to the bottom, hit the session jump, and then have that thing light off,
Yeah, something to cool you down.
Okay, Rich on Two Wheels is asking, he says, what, and this kind of comes into play for the families, so not just for the mountain bikers, what new attractions for the families might be coming?
It's such a killer question.
There you go, Rich.
I mean, everybody that's here at this point, put yourself in my shoes. I've got it built. Now what's next, right? And so you can dream up whatever. Well, I'm super passionate about the monorail that's in here. So the monorail is a B ride. It holds a car up to 12,000 pounds. It takes a 1/4-mile track and it goes right through the center of the park. And so 5 years ago, I started machining and building a car to go on that. What it is it's basically a giant a giant clip that, there you go. There's the B. Good call. And you can clip this clip to the track, and this clip is a gear ratio to work off of a mountain bike frame. So I used all the same gearing as a SRAM, like EXO or Eagle drivetrain. And you get on this bicycle and it hangs from the tram, and it runs up to this truck assembly that I now have done. It shows up tomorrow from the machinist, and we're clipping it on the track tomorrow. And I'm going to be pulling
test ride
to check out the tolerances and stuff. And so that is the 2022 attraction that's coming, and it is freaking awesome. I've got it all calibrated at full speed. It goes 22.5 miles an hour.
What?
And anybody that knows what that feels like on a bike, 22 miles an hour on a bicycle is pretty clipping right along.
Yeah.
But when you're at the pub, look up and look at that track and look at how tight that radius turn is. That thing's going to throw you off that bike. So the next step is in trying to figure out how do I get this approved by OSHA?
The safety committee.
I literally don't care. I'm building this, and it's going to be super fun. And you're going to see me probably riding it because no one else is going to be allowed to ride it. The system's not going to allow it, but it's coming, and I'm super stoked. So that's one of the attractions that's coming that I'm super happy about. There's also more play centers. We're getting comments that a lot of the riders are having young families, and so there is a demand on us to have more for small kids to do. So while you're out riding, you can break the family up a little bit, and some can ride while some watch the kids, or vice versa. However that family model works. And so we are putting more stuff in. We just put these, we call them moving mountains. We put little excavators in that kids can jump in. They'll be open this weekend, and they can run a little excavator. So we're going to constantly putting new attractions in for all ages. So yeah, that's the two new things that I'm working on right at this moment.
That is awesome. Yeah, and like getting back to what you said earlier, that full balance of mountain biking and the family, it really helps out at SkyPark when everybody can do something and everybody can enjoy it. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Good question, Rich. Rich was the one who asked that one. Connor SD is asking, was his original vision of what it should be what it is now, or is it something else?
It's pretty close to what I envisioned from the start. I feel like we have a good vibe between the trail system and the village. That was the chemistry that I really wanted to develop to where they were complementing each other. And I'm pretty happy to have that. I think if there's one thing that I think I had the envision of that the park still doesn't have just yet, is we still don't have that feeling of being lost in the woods. And I really like that about everybody here does. We love the fact of riding on your bike and taking a trail out somewhere and seeing something new, and then getting out there and going, dang, I'm kind of far. Where you almost get the feeling like that nervousness of I'm killing it today. I'm miles out in the woods, and I'm with my buddy or whatever, and you're laughing and you're having a blast, and you become part of something with nature, with yourself. Like that's the key to mountain biking, right? The core of it is be out there and be one with your bike, and just the quiet, the peacefulness, and the craziness, the fact that you can go over and try and hop up on some log and try and ride it, and you're just goofing off. You're just literally using the forest as a playground. I saw more of that as my original vision. And I think at the end of the day, I will get that vision. I will get there. So that requires more acreage. That requires a bigger park. And I think all those things are possible.
This might be a great place to say it. You were talking earlier about those trails that you rode when you were a kid, kind of behind the property.
Right.
Are you thinking that you would build it out back that way somehow in the future?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I have a good relationship with my neighbor, so I think there's opportunity there coming for SkyPark in the dream, and that's what we're talking about. Hey, is this the vision of what you saw? I think that's what I see as a vision. I always have, and I haven't lost that vision.
That's awesome. That is very, very cool. And I do get that feeling a little bit when I'm on Comet and I'm heading back that way. I get that feeling of being out there. Like this is, it's very, very cool.
And that's just it. When you get to Comet, you're touching on it, because from that acreage back is wilderness. It is hardcore. It's thousands of acres. And those acres are fee land. Those acres they can be owned.
Wow.
So there's opportunity there. One thing I would say that's probably difficult about the park is also being in the same position where people get hurt at the park. And I don't like that. I've done everything that you can imagine, and all the listeners know this. There's no gaps at this park. You can't go fly a gap. You probably will never be able to fly a gap at SkyPark. I've done everything I can to try and make it so when the family comes out and mom wants to go out and really rip it up, and just have this blast of a time, that she can do that and have fun and not throw herself into a gap, or anybody. But there's really nobody is singled out anymore. All riders are talented and all riders are good riders. And we all like to push ourselves. And because of that, I have to take that into consideration when I build the park. So the first step is trying to keep you safe, make sure that I can do that. And then once you're safe, right, accidents happen. And so even though you're doing things, you just go to clip out and you accidentally fall over. Well, you fall on a stick and the stick lacerates your arm. I mean, now I got you out on a trail. I need to make sure that I can get first aid to you immediately, get EMTs to you, and get you out of that condition. A bigger park makes that harder. And so I walk slowly as I develop this park to make sure that it's done responsibly. And I see it in every single park that I go to. I see the risk factor and I see the risk that those companies are taking. And it's a risk they don't need to take. If we want to go do gaps and all that, you can still go do that in your backyard. You can still do that at a lot of parks, and they're built for it and they have the facilities to manage that. And so that's something that's always in the back of my mind. It's very, there's a level of responsibility that kind of freaks you out once in a while. I don't like seeing people get hurt.
That's interesting. Well said. That's great that you brought that up. And I can say that gaps or no gaps, there's definitely no shortage of fun at SkyPark.
Right.
Oh yeah, Scouts outside.
That's right, and that's a great comment. You don't need a gap to make a great jump. You can make a great jump rollable, and so it's all in trail design. Just got to make sure that you're doing it. And I hope I can keep my talent level up as I get older on a bike, so that I can still enjoy the purity of big ramps and big jumps and everything, and still ride at that level, because I think it helps having the owner of the park ride a bike. I do see when I go to other parks, you can tell that that a lot of times the owners of the parks aren't riding, and the money spent on trails are spent in different ways, and not necessarily the purity of just going out and riding your bike.
Yeah. The spirit of the trail is not there if the person owning the park isn't actually on the trails. It's like, who did this turn? What the heck was this?
You have to enjoy it.
Yeah. Scouts Out's on. He said he's from the Central Coast, and his name is Mark. He says, yeah, gaps are not needed to have a great jump. Exactly. That gets to one of the questions on here. Bill, they're asking, Trail Dogs are asking, people have been asking us if the session jump is going away. Is it here to stay or is it out of here?
It's here. It's here to stay.
There you go.
The reason that the rumor came out that the session jump was going to go away is I had figured out a line that I could take from Lower Sleigh Ride, and I could take it through where the session jump is, and it would lend itself for a dual slalom. I've been trying to put a dual slalom in the park for years, and the session jump really messed up the line, the entrance to the session jump, and everything else. And so there was a rumor there, and it was a legitimate rumor that there was a threat on the session jump because of this line that we were talking about coming down. And again, I was also using the rationale of, hey, would we less people get hurt? But then what I found is we're really not hurting people on the session jump. When we first built it, we had some fairly big crashes on it. Guy broke his femur. I mean, we've had some big crashes on it, but now that it's been here for a while and people know what it is, we're not getting the injuries on it, and the session jump will stay. We're not pulling it out. We'll continue to work on it and improve it. Yeah,
there you go.
Just the opposite. Yeah, we'll take care of it.
There you go, everybody. It is staying. It is staying. Another question. SD Connor says, what was the background? Oh, actually, we knew that one already. So going on to the next page. Is there any questions that you saw that you'd like to address?
I think we covered a lot of them. We went through so many different kind of dynamic stuff. I was going to look at a couple of questions that I saw, but I think we covered most of them. But if anybody has any questions, yeah, shoot, this is a good time.
Yeah. Oh, here's a little ripper guy. Stance Williams. What's up, buddy? Stance Williams is this, and you probably have seen footage of this kid. I think he's like, Stance, forgive me if I get this wrong, right? He's got to be 8 or 9 maybe, and he is flying on these jumps. There's images of him on the session jump, just way up there. Super talented little shredder. He's asking, what is the average number of bikers weekdays versus weekends? Interesting question for a little guy.
That is a great question. And that's the secret sauce that makes a park successful. Weekends, we'll do upwards of about 1,000 people in the park on a weekend. This weekend we'll be busy. We're super busy during the holidays because we get that first rain. We got the best dirt. The trees are all changing. I mean, I rode today. It was freaking spectacular. It was so beautiful out there. All the trees are bright red and so it's beautiful. So right now on weekends, we'll do 1,000 people. And then on the weekday, like today when I rode, I would say probably people total park in and on the trails, max maybe 200 people, guys. It was so quiet, man. We had lunch. There was maybe 1 or 2 parties over by the Pedal Pub having lunch, 1 or 2 at St. Nick's, and I didn't see anybody. I picked any trail. When I got to the top of the world, I could pick any trail anywhere, no one around, super chill. I noticed that we get a lot of guys that are a little bit older during the week because they're retired or whatever. Their schedules allow them to do it. They're obviously not in school, and they're riding e-bikes. So when I was out today, I had quite a few e-bikes going by me. I'm like, wow, I felt like a minority out here with my pedal bike. I'm not giving in, man. I am a tourist. I am not going to ride one. I mean, I do ride one. I mean, I have fun with one, but my go-to ride is a pedal bike, and I hope it always stays a pedal bike.
There you go. Yeah, those e-bikes are fun. But as a friend of mine told me, was like, would you like to have ice cream every single day? Because like having ice cream, but,
right?
You know, it is fun though.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah,
I like that analogy. That's
I'm thinking if I ever do get an e-bike, I definitely want to keep my analog bike so I can have like almost like in surfing, a shortboard and a longboard. You know, it just depends on what the ride is that day.
And I saw Adam's comment. You know that the park is great for e-bikes. You know, absolutely. What I love about this park and what will never change, and this is one of the questions that came up. I did see this question. Will there ever be a lift service? Absolutely not. There will never be a lift service one of the things that I don't like about other parks is whether it's Mammoth Summit or wherever, and I'm going up and I get to the top, I've cooled off, I don't feel warmed up anymore, and I'm throwing my leg over a bike, and I'm going to immediately start throwing myself off of ramps and jumps and tight berms and stuff. I love how SkyPark, you work for it, and when you get to the top, you're warmed up, like you're ready to ride. And to me, that's mountain biking. So everybody told me, not everybody, but I got a lot of people that told me that the bike park would not work, that people wouldn't pay to ride their bike if you didn't have a lift. And I always believed if you give them a good trail and you can give them a good environment, why wouldn't they come ride? So luckily for me, knock on wood, that's come true. But yeah, so e-bikes are absolutely so fun here because that's your chairlift, right?
That's the lift.
You can get up and down you go. I have noticed that there is a difference for everybody out there. I've done a lot of environmental work because of having to get this approved and stuff. And the consensus is that the e-bike does not do any more wear and tear on a trail than a regular mountain bike. And I can tell you for a fact in our park that the e-bikes absolutely create more wear and tear and thrash the trails. There's just no question about it. And it's important that people understand why. It's not because you go down the trail on an e-bike and I go down a trail on a pedal bike and the e-bike is rougher on the trail. That's not it at all. The environmental argument is correct. If you're going out and back on a trail, the e-bike doesn't do any more harm than the regular bike. Where the e-bike does harm is when there's a group of riders that come in and there's 1,000 of them, and those 1,000 riders all go on a regular bike. They can only do 5 or 6 laps in the park and they have a great day. On an e-bike, they can do 20 laps in the park. So what's happening is I'm just simply getting more wear on the trail because of the e-bike. So there's a lot that's been learned at this park in particular on the differences between the e-bike and a regular bike on what it does to the environment.
Interesting.
They are the same. They do not do more damage, but they can do more riding.
Yes.
And the more riding and the more laps, that's more damage.
That's more damage.
So there you go. Yeah.
That makes sense, Bill. Actually, Joe and I did an e-bike study, and the end conclusion of the study was you definitely go twice as far. Your average speed is up twice as fast. Your active time is more. Everything's double. It seems like on the E.
Yeah.
It was an interesting result.
Yeah, they sure they are fun, and they will probably, as far as I see, will always be welcome at the park.
There you go. That's cool. Scott Ripple is saying, just found out about the Dead Man's Party tomorrow night. My girlfriend and I have our wheels spinning.
Woo!
Looks like you got some more people coming.
So what I have, you guys don't have, is I have a theatrical group because I'm a theme park. So tomorrow after work, well, not after work, during work, however you want to call it, at 5 o'clock, I have an appointment with our makeup artist. So I am going to be totally decked out. I will be a dead man. It's super fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm totally fired up for that. So costumes are totally welcome, which will be super fun. That'll help the vibe in the park, I think, if people dress up. So yeah, Dead Man's Party is going to be come. It's going to be a blast.
That's going to be great. Yeah. If anybody on the podcast tonight can get out there for Dead Man's Party, jump on out there. Bill, I can't believe we've already blown through an hour. Is there anything that you'd like to share about SkyPark, things that are coming up? Dead Man's Party is one we for sure want to get people out to. Anything at all that we didn't get to say?
I don't know. I just think if I really appreciate you guys having me on, because I think the more information out there, the better, and it certainly helps us. But there has been a lot on my mind going through COVID and all this weird stuff, and I think what I'd like everybody to understand is, SkyPark isn't about any of that. It's not about politics. It's not about, if you're white, black, if you're gay, SkyPark is about getting rid of all of that and coming up for the day and having your day with your family or with your friends and just absolutely just enjoy the day and get away from all that. Like that's not what SkyPark is here for. SkyPark is here for you to come up and have fun and play for the day. And I will do whatever I can to make sure that experience is as good as it can be, So I think that my message is just, keep your troubles at home and come up and put a smile on and come up and have fun.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's right. Get up to SkyPark for some stoke. That's always the happy place. Bill, it's been great to have you on the show. I really appreciate you being on the segment. If you see Santa Claus, tell him I said hi. If you see Arrow, tell him we said what's up.
Yep. I look forward to seeing you back up here, and we'll get back to doing what we do, having fun.
Having fun. I can't wait. I got to get some laps with you, buddy. Got to get some laps with you soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for being on the show tonight. Thank you to our guest, Bill Johnson, owner of SkyPark, on the podcast. If anybody wants to reach out to you after this show, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Probably my email is the best, and it's a little long, but if you email bill@skyparksantasvillage.com, and it's a mouthful, that comes right to my desk. And unfortunately, I check my email every second, right? That's how the world goes around.
Bill at SkyParkSantasVillage.com?
Yeah, it's bill@SkyParkSantasVillage.com. And so, and thank you guys so much for your support. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It doesn't work unless people come,
Yeah, we thank you so much for building this amazing bike park that we all love. Every single person has such a good time. Whenever you say, where do you want to ride this weekend? When somebody says SkyPark, it's always like, ooh, yeah, let's make that happen.
It's always an option.
It's always a great option. I love
unless it snows, man, I'm keeping it open.
Awesome. Oh, before we go, one thing about, we're heading into the winter. There was a question about when it does snow, will there be volunteer signups to help shovel the snow out so we can open the park?
Absolutely. Now that with this COVID thing going out of our way and stuff, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll post it on social media, so we'll get the word out. Awesome. And if you've done it before, you're already on a list, and so you'll probably be directly contacted by email, and just say hey, or text, hey, come on out. We're gonna have a volunteer day. Love to see you. So hopefully we can grow that. And if we could get that rolling enough, it just makes these new trails come that much quicker.
Right. Can't wait. Let's folks, let's keep SkyPark open as much as we can as we head into the winter season, and let's get up there and get those tires on the trails and get the snow, get the stoke. I think Walt Disney stole that from you guys, the happiest place on earth. I think that's a good argument. Yeah, have to get that back. Well, thank you again, Bill. Thank you, everybody, and we appreciate it. We'll see you guys out there on the trails. Talk to you all soon.
Thank you, guys.